Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my dear friends. This is morning in Lithuania. Look at how bright this morning is and good weather. My parents are back, so there's a bit of a commotion going on. I mean, who even says that my parents are back? Like at 34, people usually have their own families and their own children, and their parents don't come back to their house unless they're invited. I'm living in my parents' house. I'm living in my, I don't know, and on the topic of stpd, it's like, that's one of the traits, is that you usually stay at low-end pay jobs. You don't, really advance in some kind of, career way or something, and that definitely shows, for me, that definitely shows up. And once I got my diagnosis, I was like, oh, shit, that's been happening my whole life. As soon as I started going up in some steps, career steps, I was like, I either freaked out because I had to take up some more responsibility. And I don't mind responsibility, but there was something inside me. It wasn't right. It was basically it was London, it wasn't stable and all of that shit. But the eccentricity of schizotypal personality disorder, that's where I think I could advance in, but in terms of art, in terms of creativity, but something is stopping me, and it's me. I was talking to a friend of mine, a person that I recently met, and that we clicked together, and we shared experiences of how our inner dialogue goes. Well, she shared her experience, and I was so happy when I was reading it. I was just somebody that thinks similar to me, I was like, damn, this is great, because it's the negative talk inside is terrible. It's it's the worst. But here we go. Her mind is jumping around again, and my dad is back, and he's sober as well for over a year, and he's got this and I know it's I'm living a privileged life. I have a flat that is not being used because my parents don't live in it. They got that flat from their parents because their parents worked really hard, and flats back then in the Soviet Union were quite cheap. So that got passed down to my dad by my grandma. Oh shit. Spider web. No. Spidey. Fuck. And then it got passed down, but my grandma died of cancer, and she was such a hard-working person, and I think that's what brought it on to her. She got blood cancer, and I'm always thinking other reasons than just oh, she just got it, it was an accident, somehow she got, I'm that shit doesn't happen like that. I don't think it does happen. So maybe that's my schizotypal personality disorder, odd ways of thinking. I'm coming up with ideas of how she, and if I even express these ideas to my parents or somebody, they might go you're fucking crazy. They might get offended. They might take it personally, that I'm almost saying what was she doing wrong? And it's it's crazy, because I'm making this video because a listener of mine, a fairly new listener of my videos or viewer of my videos, asked some questions, a lot of good, interesting questions that activated my mind, and I I need to go and make a video now, because everything happens now. Everything happens in a here and now, and if you don't do it now, fuck knows if you're ever gonna do it. So I had some time, and I decided to do it. But it got me thinking, like, looking at my dad and how, like, he's living, working full time, and when he has a holiday, he's like insane. Like, he's so like active that it puts everyone out of their like calm state of mind. Like, he passes on his like anxiety, his nervousness, his everything. And I think it's coming, like a time is coming where I'll just be like, look, like, I love you, but this shit has got to stop. Like, your anxiety is through the roof. Everybody can feel it. Everybody's probably afraid to tell it to you, but I'm telling it to you. And I know from what I'm experiencing through these like group meetings and AA meetings is that's like a long-term effect of alcoholism. And once you stop drinking, there's pretty much hell inside of your head. Like, you can't, like, you're constantly running away from your mind, or you become like super ego driven, and you're like, I don't know how to even explain it. It's like just being sober isn't enough sometimes for an addict. And then looking at my dad, and that's really triggering me. And now I know why. It's because I'm exactly the same. I was exactly the same. And this viewer asked me a lot of questions. Some of them were about psychosis. I wrote them down on my hand because otherwise I wouldn't be able to read it. And now I'm gonna try to remember it. Okay. So basically, psychosis with friends and family. Oh, relationships with friends and family and psychosis. So I don't know. My mom is she works in a medical field. She works with children, and she works with psychotherapy. So she's very well like endowed, if that's the right word, in that field. She's probably a reason why she's studying medicine and studying psychology, because she's seen a lot of stuff happening around her. When she was a kid, our granddad was like I forgot that word. Hypochondriac. He was a hypochondriac. He was like super afraid all the time that he was going to die, because his mom he was the only one that survived out of 8 brothers past the age of like 13. All of his brothers and sisters died very, very young. He only had like half sisters from another father or something like, or another mother. So I have this like background in the family, genes, super sensitive grandpa, super like strange, like almost bipolar fucking dad side, almost like a little bit narcissistic, super sensitive mom side, because there's some shit happening between my mom and her sister that's like, I don't know, like, where is that coming from? And I can only think about like being daughters of an artist, and who kind of like, I don't know, maybe spoiled him or something. And like, I'm opening up a lot about my family. So I'm like looking at this picture, this painting, of like this family tree that is like, one side is quite heavily induced with alcohol, the other side is quite heavily induced with like their own inner world and what's going on, and kind of artistic, creative. And I'm like, of course I'm gonna be the way I am, you know? Like half fucking Terminator, I can do anything, just give me some alcohol, and half of like this sensitive, almost, you know, feminine, I don't know how to even put it, but my relationship with my parents and my close family and friends, it's quite like, I don't really feel like I have friends. Now I'm starting to make new connections with friends, but sometimes I'm like talking to them and I'm like, is this my friend? Like, I don't know, like I don't feel like this is my friend, you know? Like sometimes I'm like, I don't know how to put it, like we're friendly, but is it a true friend? Are we deep? Like even my best friend, so-called best friend that I see once a year, are we deep with him? Like last time we met, I was like, we're growing apart. Like he's into what he's into. I'm like more going into like fucking sober life, you know, and what's real and what's not, you know. That's why sometimes creativity, I'm like, why am I even doing this? Like maybe this is not me, you know. What is creativity in general? Like whatever. So with my parents, I'm like, looks like they come back, like I should spend time with them, a lot of time with them. But even yesterday I went with a chat with my mom, and I can feel how I'm going back to the angry child mode, you know? Like I'm like talking and I'm like almost like, you know, life isn't fair, like this is bullshit, like blah blah blah, you know? And this pent up anger is like coming through, you know? And I really like ruined my own mood. Like I noticed how I was like, fucking hell, like I can really do myself in. Like I can really like fuck with my own mind so much so that it it fucking ruins my day, you know? So if I can do that, I can do the opposite too. So I was like, fuck, I need to create good things. I need to create beauty. I need to create like good relationships, good, healthy, friendly relationships, honest. You know, it doesn't have to be good, like whatever good means. It doesn't have to be like perfect, but honest, heartfelt, you know, heart to heart, eye to eye conversations, like shit that, I don't know, I've been rediscovering recently more and more. But yeah, I don't have like a close circle of friends. Like I always feel like mostly I'm on my own, you know? Like I go to this cafe, like our town cafe, and I'm like thinking like, okay, today I'm gonna sit and I'm really gonna make something. And then as somebody comes up and they just sit down next to me, you know, and I could just like pretend that they didn't sit down next to me, but of course I'm gonna start talking to them, and you know, one thing leads to another, and I'm already not doing what I was supposed to do. But then why did I come to that cafe in the first place? I obviously don't want to be alone, so I want to be around people and with people, so I could just have a chit chat, you know. And one of these trips ended up in a meeting a new person and like really, you know, connecting, you know, which I don't think has ever happened, like to that level and that extent. And you know, when it's reciprocal, like that's why I'm like talking about this, you know, disorder, which is stpd. And I just think it's a personality type, you know. And my mom, who is studying psychotherapy, and she's like, I hate that word, disorder. You know, it's like, why should it be a disorder? Like, it's not a disorder, it's a type. You know, you're that kind of type of being, type of person. So when I look at these traits, like usually there's no close friends, and the close friends are usually first degree relatives like mom, grandma, grandpa. Like, yeah, cool, but like it doesn't mean that I'm not trying to change it. It doesn't mean that I'm, now I'm only going to talk to like I talk to a lot of people. But anyway, psychosis. I just remember like most of my psychosis was induced by alcohol and drugs. Like I remember times where I was like so like high, I started talking to some crackheads on the street, pretty much got robbed, but like not obviously, but like just I was robbed, like talked into, like I don't know how, like it almost feels like I can compare it to like mind power and telecommunication and people like reading your mind and manipulating you, But you get yourself into those situations by taking these substances, and I'm not talking about like medically in a medical setting, no, like you take these substances and you go out in the streets where shit is dangerous. Like seriously, you don't know who you're gonna run into, and if your energy is dark and you're not cleaned yourself up, you're gonna attract dark energy, and that's what used to happen. Like one day I came back home and my landlord was like, "What's that on your head?" I was like, "Where?" It's like, "Here, like you got hit in the face." And I was like, "No, I didn't actually." Like, she's like, "Yeah, somebody like punched you up or something." Or like, "Did you fall?" And I was like, "Clearly I didn't fall, like nothing happened." And I was like, "Do I not remember what happened?" Like, even though I came back home, everything was okay. But seriously, now I'm remembering all this, I'm like getting anxious because it doesn't seem like that was that long ago. But then again, it was a while ago. It was like, I don't know, like it was like 5 years ago, more. But anyway, one time I was bringing back, like I was finding things on the street, like little things, or like people would check out their paint, and I would be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna paint these amazing paintings," and making all these connections that this thing, like, oh, we'll make these collages and I stick these things and wrap these things around and stick them together, and it's gonna mean something, and it's got energy in it, so people would get attracted to it. But it was just chaos, and it was like chaos is attracting chaos. So I just ended up with like a fucking hoarder. Like I ended up with like so many things in my house, in my room, that one day I took all of those things out in the back garden. It basically filled up the whole back garden of my neighbor. I got told off so badly afterwards by her son, who just sat me down and was like, I couldn't talk. Basically, he just told me to shut up and just listen, and that was good. Like that put me in a place. But still, now I realize I was exactly how my dad is now. He's sober, and I can see things that he's doing, and some things aren't working out, and he's like, "What the fuck? Like, why is this, and this is falling apart, and this and that and that," and it's like, you just want to tell the person to chill, just want to be like, just relax. Like the world, the universe is stopping you. Like you're doing all of these things. You got this motorbike that you brought to Lithuania just because you want to ride around, and bought this car, and you have all of this like money, and and it's like you're spending it on things that you don't even like need. And what is going on? Like, what is your inner world telling you? Like, anyway, and you can't help anybody else. So I'm seeing him in almost like half psychosis. Like, yeah, he's happy, but that happiness isn't always like beneficial. Like, you're torturing yourself. Like, you're also being a nuisance to everybody else around you. When somebody tells you something, you're like, like shove them off, like as if they're trying to like stop you or something. And I remember like on these psychosis moments, I was like, when I used to argue with him, like when I was the one that was going crazy, when I would drink and like get agitated and then would tell him things, and I'd be like sure that I can feel what he's feeling and how he's talking and where he's coming from, and I would like push it back on him. I was like, I know, I can feel it. I can feel what you're trying to do and what you're doing, and and all of these things. And now I don't even remember what I was talking about to him, but all of these things were in my head were like, no, I know, like I know. I was 100% sure that I know that he's like doing this and this wrong, and maybe this is happening right now as well. Maybe, I don't know, but I'm living in that house too, and I can share my experience with him, like it's better than he's drinking and angry and all, like annoying. But I just want to be like, look, like your anxiety, like sometimes you can't breathe, and he's like, I'm like, you're just so fucking anxious. Like, you have so many things to do. And maybe that's what happens when you're getting older. You realize, like, your life is ending and you're so anxious and you don't have any peace of mind, But anyway, back to the questions. How did I recognize that patterns weren't real? And how did I work through them? To me, it was getting sober. And it wasn't just like one day. Now I'm thinking it's been like 4 years, 3 years of trying to stay sober and not being able to. And when it happened, and I'm grateful that it happened, but it wasn't easy. And I know you talked about some medication like helping with this and the other helping with that, and I'm on medication now myself, and it's just like keeping me stable. I don't think like it has any effect on me, to be honest. So just like taking it because of the doctor, and like following all of these like suggestions of people that want good for me, following suggestions of my psychotherapist. Like, that's what got me out of it. Because like the worst thing is like when you watch these films where people are being told that they have schizophrenia or something, and then they're like, they don't accept it that they have it. And I was like, I clocked very early that if I don't accept this, that I have it, I'm not able to like control it in any, in any way. But if I accept it, that I have it, and I look into it and I realize like what it is from all sorts of angles, if I learn about it, what it is, and like maybe I'm able to take it under control, So I just wanted to show you this view of our town. And now I'm like, I don't even feel like I'm controlling it. I just feel like I know a little bit about it. I know what's gonna happen. Like, I see my brain on this pedestal, like with the tape around, like, do not cross the line, like under this glass dome protected by the guards, you know, like do not cross, like do not touch, like let it be, you know, like do not affect this in any shape or form. Like, okay, coffee, you know, coffee, cigarettes, yes, but like not in any other shape or form, like no drugs, no nothing. Because to me, honestly, like, and talking spiritually, and I think spirituality, not like religion, but like spirituality, like more like meditation, more like, I don't know, like my own meditation, my own spirituality, my walks, you know, without the music, you know, being in the nature. Like, seriously, it heals you. Like, don't really need to do anything, just be in the nature. Just see how everything is flowing, see how the wind is moving, the branches. That's what put me back and coming back home, you know, because that's where my essence is. Like, that's where my child is, you know, and I'm living as a child in where I'm from, you know. Like, anyway, like, I don't know if I'm making any sense, but positive, high awareness, things others overlook. Yeah, about the positive, high awareness, it's like, I don't know if I'm, now when I'm looking back at it, like, I think I have it all the time. Like, when I'm in a good mood, you know, when I ate and I took my medication, when I always take my medication, by the way. I mean, maybe, yeah, before there was a time where I wasn't, and I didn't know what was going on, but it's about the stability, it's about the consistency, it's about being consistent, you know? And I feel like I have this feeling like all the time. Like, now I set up my life so I could, you know, work not so much and enjoy my life. And sometimes negative thoughts come to my head and be like, yeah, you're being lazy. Nobody's gonna, like, no woman is gonna want to spend time with you. Like, you're lazy. And it's like, now I see differently. There are people coming that want to spend time with me, you know, and I'm like, I don't have to work 40 hours a week to just earn the money so I can have a family where I can have kids, where those kids will live out my unlived dreams, you know? It's like, they're not gonna live my dreams. They're gonna do exactly what I do. So if I don't live out my dreams, nobody's gonna live out my dreams, you know? So I feel like I'm in that positive, high awareness. I'm like seeing connections all the time, but I don't talk about it, you know, because I've seen people in like psychosis and they're explaining all these things, and I know that they're making sense to them in that moment of psychosis. They are making sense. There are all these connections, but fuck knows if even they're real, and if you're just seeing things, you know, like I was seeing things. Like, I don't know, like I wasn't seeing any hallucinations, but now I'm thinking maybe I was. If I was talking to people, felt like maybe they were beating me up, you know. Maybe that's how, like, this whole underworld, overlord world works. Like, you know, maybe it's all just energy. And we're seeing it one way, another person sees it another way, you know. Look at that sun right behind me. So sometimes I'm in this, like, two states of mind. Like, I'm very rarely, like, thinking clearly in my own head, like every single person, like, thinking about daily things they have to do. I'm usually just thinking what I want to create, and if I have to go to work and shit like this, you know. And sometimes I'm like, I need to try harder. That's what I think. don't know if I answered that question. Worst psychosis, friends and family, what was happening, why it felt real, how did you respond, what helped recognize it, social withdrawal. I'll try to be quick because it's half an hour video already. Worst psychosis, I think when I was in London, right before I left, I felt like I was in constant psychosis, man. Like I couldn't sleep. I would wake up at like 3 a.m. from the tiniest noise. I would have this constant heart palpitations, like my chest felt like it was gonna explode, and it happened for a long time. And I was working in this gallery, and I think I was drinking a lot, maybe because I wanted to like calm down, and I was drinking a lot. I was struggling, barely like making it, barely surviving, and still drinking, and then I stopped drinking, and then barely anything changed because all of that alcohol had to escape the system. But I was like, I couldn't stay still. I couldn't sit. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't like. It was weird. So I couldn't talk to people. I was in such a bad mood. I was so depressed. And I don't even know if this is psychosis, you know? Like, this is how I see my psychosis. Like, when I was drinking, I wasn't drinking like till like 8 a.m. or through 2 days in a row, like in terms of without stopping. Like I wouldn't have to. Like, I didn't have to drink a lot. I would just drink and feel really, really shit the next day. Really, really bad. So, yeah, maybe I'll try to expand more on next videos, you know? But what helped it recognize, once again, for me, it was sobriety. Like, I had to get sober. So, when I got sober, with time and time again, like, I'm seeing things clearly. So when another year will pass, I will probably see things differently. Now I know, and now I can feel like I can help other people can help me. I'm listening more, but I realize that you have to do the work with yourself, mainly. That's the hardest part. Like, you have to get busy with yourself. And usually you want to like go with somebody else and do something with somebody else, and it's like, that's not, just distract yourself, you know. But that just leads you to more distraction and more running around and just not finding your own place. And you gotta get into that uncomfortable feeling. And I think creativity is what helps then, because when you get sober, like, a lot of friends fall off, you know. You felt like you had friends, then you meet them the next day after you were drinking with them, and you realize that it's not a friend at all. It's some fucked up guy that you wouldn't like show to anybody that it's your friend, you know, because the way they're acting is like they cannot adapt to the real world without a drink. You know, they're like, I don't know, antisocial or some shit. Like, I don't know what I'm talking about, really. Like, just find out who your friends are and ask yourself really honestly, like, what are you doing that is making things terribly worse than it could be, you know? And for me, it was like, I knew I wasn't born with a spliff in my mouth and a beer in my hand. So I wanted to get back to the stage that, like I was when I was a little kid, you know, start from there, and that's where I'm heading back now. You know, every time I go to AA, I realize, like, it's a disease, you know. It fucks up with your mind, it fucks up with your thinking. You're not thinking straight, you know. So if you're abusing it, it's like you're trying to escape the pain. And the pain is what needs to be felt and maybe like excavated and extracted and dispersed and put into words or letters or pictures, or, you know, so you could see it clearly right before your eyes. And that's the picture of your life. That's the infograph of your life's pain and power, because it pushes you forward. You know, it's not just bad, it's good too. But it's the shadow, it's the darkness, it's the energy that is compiled and it's about to combust. So I wish you all of that. I wish you to find that darkness and disperse it, like spread it out. Use the paper. And don't be afraid to like write stuff down, burn it up, like if you don't like it, like as a catharsis. And yeah, destroy some paper. I'm saying this to you, I'm saying it to myself too. I need the amount of sketchbooks and notepads I have that are not even started. Scary. And social isolation, withdrawal. I was talking to a person yesterday about it, and I don't know, like I withdrew, I think a little bit, but I never stopped going. Like I'm a routine person, so I like never stopped going to a cafe that I was always going to. Sometimes I would have better chats, sometimes I have worse chats, but I always have chats. Not always, sometimes I just sit by myself and just observe people, you know. So I would try to like not get stuck in my head, my own head. You know, that's one thing I've trained myself to do, you know. And I think we can be deeply empathetic people, you know. Like one thing that's important is to like get out of your head and be more interested in other people and other people's stuff, because you're listening to another person's story. You're hearing it for the first time. Your own story, you know, like 1,000 times, you know that story. So, you know, either create something new, which is creativity, which is art, which is writing stuff down, which is creating characters, lives, imaginary lives, and that's interesting. That other people might want to read it too. Or just listen to other people's stories, like expand your worldview, you know, like be interested, you know. So I don't know, when I'm talking to you, I feel like, fuck, I know everything, you know. I know what I need to do to be better, to not get, you know, sad, to not be this, not do that. But trust me, this is all fucking a facade. Like, it's just a cover. It's all bullshit. Like, when the attack comes, I'm not ready. I can tell you that. So that's that, my friends. Okay, I love you all. It's been 38 minutes of me ranting about schizotypal personality disorder, some of its traits. The person that asked questions, I don't know if I answered them to you, but I tried. Things are not always how they seem to be. And when you're feeling something and nobody else is feeling it, that doesn't mean that it's not true, you know? I feel like we can all relate to that. And I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday, and she was saying, I was talking to this person, and I felt this weird thing that I shouldn't have any business with her. And I was like, nah, why am I judging this person, you know? And then she found out that she was a fucking weird woman. She had a weird feeling about her, and weird shit happened. So, and this person is born on the same day with me, and same, like 3 hours later in the same hospital. And I was like, shit, I should probably listen to her, because I have exactly the same thing. Sometimes I feel like there's anxiety about a person or a situation, and I'm like, no, don't judge the book by its cover, you know? And then later on, days or weeks later, I'm like, fuck, I really shouldn't have gone through with this. So I love you guys. Hope you have a nice day. Hope you enjoy today, and send me your questions. I'll try to answer them. I love you all. Have a great morning, evening, nighttime. Thank you for tuning in and for watching. And I'll hopefully catch you in the next one. Much love. I really appreciate your attention. And hopefully I'll catch you in the next one. What else did I want to say? Do you, be you, and I'm proud of you. That's what I forgot to say. I'm proud of you for doing you and being you. Take care. Peace.